So a lot of people have been asking me about different tones, or they think my guitar sounds great, whatever, at different gigs. So I thought I'd make a little video on what I've used in the past, what I'm currently using, and let you know the details. So here we go. First off, I started using this acoustic G100 effects for small gigs, just a single 12 combo amp, only using the clean channel on it, putting my pedals into it. Has a nice sound for a very little amount of money. I added the Panama single 12 cabinet to that. A little bit different tone came out of that. Kind of evened out between the lower tone of the acoustic itself and a little bit higher tone coming from the Panama. So then also for smaller shows or practice situations, whatever it may be, I picked up this Boss Katana 100 at Northeast Music Center, and this was a great backup for me. It's another single 12 combo. It has built-in effects and all kinds of crazy stuff. So if for whatever reason my pedal board went down, this had everything in it that I needed with the foot switch for this amp, even as far as detuned things. When I get to my pedal board, I'll explain that a little bit. Most of the tunings, my guitars are either in standard or drop D tuning, and then it would go down from that based on the pedal. This amp will also do that same thing, so it's a good backup to have around. I've never taken it out of the house, but I've had this PV6505 mini head for a while just to have a tube head around. I've used it on a bunch of recordings I've done for different flavor. It's usually set up here, plugged into this Panama single 12. I've also run it through the orange 212. Sounds great either way. So when I went for the 212 that I was used to in the past, missed that for a while, I picked up the orange Jim Root cabinet with the Voice of the World 212s in it, and the orange Crush Pro 120. Another solid state head. A lot of people don't like solid state, they're all tube, but that thing did wonderful for me. Again, I was only using the clean channel of it mostly. It has plenty of volume. So most recently I switched to using the PRS MT15 Mark Tremonti signature head. Going to a tube head, trying that out for a while. So far I've liked how it's turned out. It's got a clean channel and a lead channel. The lead channel is incredible. The clean channel is what I use most of the time, unless something were to ever happen to any of my pedals, then I'd have a good lead channel to back me up on that. And that's about all I've used for guitar amps for the last 10 years. Alright, carrying on past amps, I've used a lot of different guitars over the years, from Les Pauls to everything except for, I don't think I've ever used a Fender. But for a long time I was using all Schecter guitars. I started with this Schecter S1 custom, played that for a while. I got the Blackjack Tempest and the Schecter Sinister Gates Custom S with the Sustainiac system in it. All great guitars. I can't say enough good stuff about Schecter. More recently I've been playing PRS guitars and picked up this Mark Holcomb from Periphery. his artist model guitar. Great guitar, sounds wonderful. Comes standard in drop C. I ended up putting it in standard tuning because if you watch the amp section, I play in standard or drop D and use pedals for down tuning stuff. After the sound I liked on the Mark Holcomb, I picked up a PRS S2 Custom 22. These all again came from Northeast Music Center in Dixon City. I've been playing this as my main guitar for the past couple months. Usually I have the two PRS guitars out with me. Every once in a while I'll switch it up and throw in the Tempest. I don't take the Sinister Gates out much anymore because it's got locking tuners with the Floyd system and everything, so once that's in a tuning I like to leave it there. It's not easy to go back and forth if I want to do that. But it's up in the air what I use for recording any originals or whatever I do here at home. Whatever guitar fits. And that's all the electric guitars I have. Alright, I'll talk a little bit about my pedal board right now. I try and keep it simple, but there's a bunch of stuff. Basically, I'm using a Voodoo Labs Pedal Power Plus 2 to power all the pedals. It's got a plug on it so I can power my wireless, which currently I'm using a Shure wireless. That's going into the TC Electronic Polytune. From the Polytune tuner to a Digitech drop. That's from my drop tuning stuff. Flat tuning, C sharp, C, all that stuff is done with this pedal. Keeping the guitars in standard or drop D tuning. From the drop pedal goes to a Dunlop mini volume pedal. I use this for not only volume but to roll off the gain a little bit for some of the lighter stuff. From the mini volume pedal, go to a Crybaby mini wah I use here and there. And the key piece that I have here is the Mesa throttle box EQ pedal. I started off with just a throttle box and a different boost pedal. This I found to be more useful and all in one pedal. So it's got a rhythm channel and a lead channel. You can engage or disengage the EQ on either channel. It's got a boost built into it, a mid-cut, separate levels, tone and gain. I have my gain below half, maybe at like the 10, 11 o'clock mark right now. From the throttle box EQ, I go into a Boss Harmonist I use that mostly for whammy effects. There's a couple songs that I'll use it for like a dual lead part. Songs like Nightmare by Avenged Sevenfold or Holy Diver by Dio, stuff like that that have two guitar parts. I can emulate that with one guitar. From the Harmonist goes into the Strymon Timeline. I got this recently to replace 3 other pedals that I'll show you in a second. It does all kinds of different delay, some really cool effects with that. Also has a looper built into it. So this pedal up here, this Strymon multi-switch, is my looper. So I have record, playback, and stop. This Strymon Timeline does all that. And that's the end of that chain. What this timeline replaced was a TC Electronic, let me get it in frame there, that's better. TC Electronic Flashback Mini Delay great little pedal. It's got an app where you can use different settings from all kinds of different artists. It worked great for a little while. This isn't the first one I had. The first one I had was a little glitchy. That's why I invested in the timeline. There's a lot of things the timeline will do that this won't, but if you're looking to save some money, a great little delay pedal. You can hold down the button, play the string, and it'll change the delay time for you. Cool little thing. I also had the Corona Mini Chorus in there, which the timeline will do simulated chorus effects. So I barely used this thing as it was, so the timeline took place of that also. And then before I had the timeline, I had the TC Electronic Ditto Looper, mini looper pedal. It's just a one button looper, easy to use. I still have one of these on my acoustic setup. When we do acoustic duo shows, there's some parts I like to loop and play a lead over, or just loop parts for fun. But timeline also has a looper in it, so I didn't need this anymore. So those three pedals were taken over by the Strymon timeline. That's all I got for pedals. So for anybody that's interested in the bass equipment that I have, I've done fill-in gigs on bass here and there. I use a Ampeg Portaflex PF500 head. It's 500 watt head. Going into usually only one cabinet. I have a PF115 that's just a single 15 cabinet, and I also have the PF210 that is a 210 cabinet for outdoor gigs. And if I just want to be really loud, I use both cabinets. This little head does it all for me. It's great. I plug in an old Korg DT7 tuner into the tuner output, and that's what I use for tuning. Started off with this Schecter Omen Extreme 4-string bass. If you've seen my guitar section, I like Schecter stuff. And then for another bass, I picked up this Stiletto Stealth 4, another 4-string bass. Schecter makes great basses. I like how they feel and how they play. Really easy to play, and those are my basses. You can play bass? Should I say I covered my bases? Whatever.